Okay, so Toy Story 4 is almost upon us. We have just a little bit over a week till it comes out. In fact, a week from today, people will be able to go see the early screenings, and I know I will be there with popcorn, drink, and absolute tissue in hand. I didn't make it through any of the times I had to sit through Toy Story 3 without bawling like a child. Imagine this. I was working a movie theater. I was managing a theater in Los Angeles. It was a second run theater during the summer of 2010. We had this movie playing, number 3 playing, multiple times a day. And my job was to sit there and make sure that everything ended just fine. And the way they had it set up was I had to go into that theater and watch the ending of it 2 to 3 times a day. I was emotionally exhausted at the end of my shift because that movie just gets you in the heart every single time. So I'm excited to see where this movie goes, even though it does feel relatively unnecessary. The last one, when it came out 9 years ago, ended perfectly. So why go back to the drawing board? Why go back to these characters? Well, I don't know yet. I haven't seen it, but a lot of other people have. A lot of critics have, and today they dropped their reviews. In fact, Rotten Tomatoes pops this baby up at 100% with 75 reviews counted. Now, the thing to consider with this is yesterday when they dropped the reviews for Men in Black International that only had 33%, it was also counting 75 reviews. So it's the same number that's there, just not very good. So it says here that Toy Story 4 is heartwarming, funny, and beautifully animated. Toy Story 4 manages the unlikely feat of extending and perhaps concluding a practically perfect animated saga. I accepted that it ended years ago. I don't know why we have to go back. Why? Oh, that's right. Disney wants another $1 billion. But anyway, here's what the critics are saying. So David Sims from The Atlantic here says, if I had to get another Toy Story, this is about as strange and beguiling an entry as I could have hoped for. And I think what he's referring to here predominantly is the storyline where Bonnie creates Forky, and Forky is voiced by Tony Hale, and he doesn't know who he is. It's about identity. In fact, every single Toy Story movie has been about identity in different forms, which is a very interesting theme to keep going back to over the span of over 20 years, every single time, and have no one ultimately call it out. But at least David Sims here seems to like it. So going on to say here that Bilge Abiri, I don't know, I'm sorry, here saying, giving it a fresh review, saying we're all forks at heart, and the film seems to be saying, and by breaking out of the cozy boundaries of the Toy Story films, it lights out for a new uncertain territory. And this is leaving what we've known before, right? With leaving the confines of Andy and leaving that environment. And this time around going to a carnival where it's a different take on it. Personally, I really liked the daycare aspect of being a toy retirement home from the last film. I thought that worked out really, really well, just for what they were trying to talk about in regards to the identity and letting go and growing older, and the themes that I do think Toy Story 3 was more aimed at the adults and dealing with mortality than anything else. And so I really enjoyed that. Brian Lowry here from CNN says, Toy Story 4 delivers a cinematic grand slam, a 9 years later sequel that's wholly equal to the high expectation raised by the terrific trio that it follows. So it feels kind of weird to have 4 movies when we talk about a trilogy of films and then not expect there to be 2 more, right? But it definitely, Brian here enjoyed it. That's what he's saying here. Kevin Mayer from the Times UK just says, sweet Lord, this is good. You know what? Those five words, they summarize how a lot of people are going to be feeling after watching this film, guaranteed. Lindsay Baer from the Associated Press says, let this be a lesson to all franchise cynics. Sometimes more is actually good. Now, this is where I know there's going to be pushback on this one in the comments. People are going to look at this quote from Lindsay and think, how much did Disney pay you? How much did you get paid to say that more is good? But think about it like this. When we watch something that we get emotionally attached to, right? Like, I'll give you an example. X-Men Dark Phoenix, right? I went into that movie not knowing what to expect, and I walked away bummed that the franchise was over. Because even though it wasn't the perfect film, even though a lot of people have rightly criticized it, I found a lot there that was good, stuff there that I enjoyed. And I was bummed at the end of the day that it was ending a franchise that I had spent 19 years watching, and I really liked, I really loved. And this is one that's going to be ending a franchise, arguably 9 years after the fact. but one that we've been watching since the 90s. You know, kids have grown up with Toy Story. I grew up with Toy Story. My kids will grow up with Toy Story. So it's, you know, the things we always want to go back to the drawing board. We always want more. We like the nostalgia. We like the comfy factor of it. We like knowing that the characters that we care about are going to come back into our lives in one way or another. What we just want is something good. And I think that's ultimately what Lindsay here is saying, that the story makes up for its inclusion into this overall, you know, anthology of films now, or quadrilogy of films. And finally here, Nicholas Barber says, it's a smaller, less moving, and mercifully less traumatizing entertainment than the last one. Less satisfying in its plotting and less provocative in its themes. Exactly on that one there. Think about that. The last one, again, immortality, talking about their mortality, talking about their purpose in the world, their identity. And the end of that movie, with them all being in that trash incinerator and looking at each other like, this is it. This is where it's going to end. And then here comes the damn aliens and the claw, was one of those moments where you are at that point, you are with them in that moment. The expressions on their faces, the voices brought to you by the actors, they brought it, especially Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. They truly brought it into this film, and they did it in such a way that is just emotionally touching to the core. So this one here is not as traumatizing as that. Thank God. I don't think I can sit through that. I just don't think I can sit through it. I think it is I don't want to sit through it. Like, I've watched the Toy Story, the side adventures that they've done, you know, the little movies that they've done, the little short films, and those are great. Those are great. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're funny. And they're not tugging at my heartstrings. They're not making me want to, like, cry into my popcorn, you know? They're not doing none of that stuff. They're doing a great job. Anyway, I'm excited to see this next week. I can't wait. The reviews here are just a sample of what people are thinking, and I'm simply reacting to what the public would be looking at if they went to the page themselves. That's the whole point of the RT recap. I don't think I properly explained that yesterday on the MIB video, and I definitely didn't put this at the beginning of it, so for that I apologize. But I am curious to know your thoughts on this one. Do these reviews get you hyped up for the film, or did they not? I want to hear how you feel, and let me know down in the comments. Also, if you made it this far, type in Woody into the chat so I know you guys made it here, and be sure to thumbs up the video as well. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.